Alright, so cutting the frame and the sticks for the frame for the belt drive car. First I'm going to start by cutting off the curved ends of 6 of the craft sticks. Trying to get them as even as possible, get them as straight across as possible. Now I'm using these high strength scissors, or rather snips. I highly recommend these for cutting the craft sticks. You could also use these snippers or the side cutters. Those will pretty much put a crease into the sticks and then you can break them off pretty evenly. Some use knives. I don't really recommend that. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to line up 3 of these craft sticks and make a U-shaped piece. So I'm putting a bit of hot glue on the edge and then I'm gluing another piece vertically on top of that. If you look a little bit close, you'll notice I'm leaving a little bit of an edge on the flat piece on the bottom. Notice an edge sticking out, so the vertical piece is moved forward just maybe about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put a bead of hot glue along the side to help shore it up, and then I'm going to add another strip of hot glue on the other side. I'm going to add another piece the same way that I added the first piece. I have them in from the edge of the bottom piece just a tiny little bit, not very much, but I do have it, remember I have it forward on the piece, so those vertical pieces stick out just a little bit forward of the bottom piece. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is hold those together, and I'm just going to cut off a 2-inch piece, leaving a curved edge on one side. And then I'm going to use that tiny little lip that I left on the inside of both of those and then glue that short piece to the inside, trying to keep the beams, as I call them, as parallel as possible. Now if I cut a flat piece the width of the back, now I'm going to add glue to the vertical pieces and the bottom pieces. This is why I left the lip on the back, and I'm able to glue that piece on nicely. Now things are getting more solid because we have the cross pieces holding it in place. That back piece holds it together pretty well. The front piece holds it together. We have the beginnings of our frame. Okay, so this next part is a little bit tricky. You need to cut 2 diagonal lines about 2.5 inches apart. So we're doing it at about a 45-degree angle. I'm cheating a little bit because I have a line on my cutting mat that I'm using. I'm using the cutters to create or to cut off that shape, and I'm making 2 of those. Okay, so I got 2 equal-sized pieces, and I'm going to glue them to the inside of the U-shaped pieces. You'll notice that I have one glued just to the inside, one glued to the other. I have one of the 45-degree angle pieces flat to the bottom, and then I have them sticking up at the angle. They're parallel, just like that. They've got to line up nicely to make this work. Alright, after that we can then cut a piece to go across the top, and really all I'm doing is just I'm cutting it long enough to get across the top 2 of those slanted pieces, just so it sticks out a little bit further. Added a little glue to the very top and I glued that piece on. Now if I'm going to cut off another 2-inch piece, and I'm making both sides flat and perpendicular to the edges, I'm glue that vertically on the back. What I'm trying to do is get the height of that to make sure that it's level with the piece that we just glued on in the front, because we are going to be gluing this piece across the top. This is where we're going to mount the battery. Alright, so we have the piece glued across the top, relatively parallel with the bottom. We want to check if we have any loose connections and then add hot glue if we need to tighten them up. Remember, this thing can crash pretty easily, so we want it as strong as possible.